This is Real Talk with Brendan Bardick, where we'll be talking about the latest real estate strategies, scripts, top producing techniques, and everything you're going to want to know about how to be an elite real estate agent or real estate coach, or just a great business person. Welcome back, everyone, to the next edition of Real Talk with yours truly, Brendan Bardick. Today, we're going to be talking about a foundational system, and that word being very important, system, that I call the 4 planets of a successful real estate business. Now, the entire point of this system is to take the entire business of how to be an elite real estate agent, how to have an amazing career. This exact system has helped me sell thousands of homes over my career, helped me coach other wonderful agents to become, even better. And really, it's just a very visual, very simple way of taking down this big beast, which is the elephant of real estate career and how to have success. And people are telling you to do 45 different things and all of this different stuff. And it just makes it simple so you can focus on very specific things that are going to help grow your business on a daily, weekly, and yearly basis. So I want you to think about if you had a piece of paper and you wrote down in the middle of the piece of paper a big S, the letter S, and you circled that S, okay? And that S is going to stand for system, right? This is going to be your core system. So in a way, kind of think about it like the sun, right? The sun is without it, it doesn't cause life. It doesn't, we all die without it. It provides warmth. It provides heat. It does all of these things. It's the core to the entire universe. All right. Now, think about on that piece of paper, you're going to draw a little line above that S and then draw another smaller circle. And in that circle, you're going to put the letter P. Okay. And the letter P is going to represent prospecting. Now, this is going to be the first of 4 planets that you're going to need to have a successful real estate career. Now, everyone, has different feelings about that word. Oh, prospecting. I'm not going to make phone calls. I'm not going to do this. Let me explain the word prospecting. All it means is lead generation. Okay. And we can all do lead generation in a number of different styles, a number of different formats. But at the end of the day, if we don't create leads and we don't have a lead generation planet or system, then we're not going to have a very successful career. Now, off to the right, if you're having this visual of this piece of paper, you're going to write a couple of things that fall into that category. I define prospecting as anything that I'm doing that requires outbound physical human effort for me to produce a lead. So this would be, and I'll just give you a few notes here. This would be phone calls. So you could go, let's start with the hardcore basics, just straight up cold call. You're expired for sell by owners, just listed, just sold, the NED list, all of these different phone calls that you could be making outbound to prospect for new leads. Okay. The second part in that prospecting, this is also open houses. So you're taking physical effort. An open house is a form of prospecting. You're out there, especially if you do it right, and you're calling the neighborhood. You're door knocking 100 houses around the home before you have the open house. You're doing a 7th level open house, which we talk about in another episode. But we're going to be doing all of these high level tasks, but they're going to take a lot of effort for somebody to walk into our open house and then turn into a real estate lead or buyer or seller or conversion, right? When I say lead, I define the word lead by somebody that's looking to buy or sell real estate in the next 30 days, okay? A lead in my world is buy or sell real estate in the next 30 days, okay? So I'm prospecting for those relationships to happen. So you've got outbound phone calls, you've got open houses. Door knocking. If you're going to be out there door knocking and going, from house to house, and you're knocking on the door and you say, "Hi, my name is so and so with XYZ company. Hey, we just listed this amazing house a few doors down at 123 Elm Street. We know it's going to sell very quickly, so I was stopping by to visit with all the neighbors to see, once this one sells, if you or anyone else might be interested in selling, because we're going to have such a big demand." Now, that's a powerful door knock. Now, door knocking, we know, is extremely effective. It's just very time consuming. So as you start to go on in your career, you're going to have these different options of what you're going to have success with, as far as which option is going to be the best for your style. Maybe you're better in person. Maybe you're better on the phone. Maybe you're better at open houses and you're better at waiting for people to come in and then greeting them and really working your scripts and converting them into that aspect. So there could be everything in here that you're looking at, that you're doing consistent lead generation on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Now that you have that planet, what I'd like you to do is write a percentage next to that the little percent sign, and think about, on a scale of 0 to 100%, how amazing is your prospecting system. And this means that it's perfectly scheduled, it's leveraged, you're doing it on a daily basis, you're producing a massive amount of leads and clients from it. So on a scale of 0 to 100%, with 100% meaning that your game is the best on earth. No one could touch it. If you asked me to come in and ask you, and graded you and followed you around for a week, I'd be like, wow, this is the greatest I've ever seen. Give that scale next to that percent sign a score. Maybe that's, if you're brand new and you're not doing any, that's 0. If you're doing it kind of sporadically and you're like, sometimes I call my database, sometimes I do this, whatever it might be, right? Then give it a 20 or 30. If you are, pretty consistent, you're calling expireds every day, but sometimes you forget, you fall off, whatever it is. But remember, 100% is perfection, meaning that no one could touch it on earth. So write that score down right next to that letter P. Now, you still have, so you've got your first planet, the prospecting planet, very important. It's now circling the sun, your system that provides life to it. Then your second, on your piece of paper there, if you're doing a visual or just in your mind, either way, but I highly recommend you write this down. And once you do, you have it visually. We also provide a very cool tool for this on our Brendan Bardick Real Estate Coaching page on Facebook that breaks down exactly what this really looks like. And that way you have it in front of you. And we're going to talk about how to focus on taking it down step by step on a daily basis. Okay. Then the second planet off to the right. So now you've got one up. You're going to write a little line and then another little circle. And you're going to put the letter N, right? And underneath that N, you're going to write networking. Okay. So networking is the second planet that is extremely important to be able to have a long-term, highly profitable real estate career. Now, off to the right of that, I want you to write down some ideas here that I specialize in and that I think are the most critical to networking. And by far and away, the number one bucket is charity. Charity is not only the most amazing and fulfilling, and one of the reasons I'm so driven to do what I do is to give back to the charity that I'm involved in, which is the Third Way Center. Again, the reason for that is because I came up through the social service system, was in their group home. They have 5 residential group homes here in the Denver Front Range area that service hundreds of kids every year to keep them from going to jail, for kids that don't have enough opportunity to, their parents, they had to be removed from the home because there was some issues there with the parents and level of care. And so it means a lot to me. And so when I start off with thinking about it, research and dive in to a charity that resonates with you and your soul, right? This could be Boys and Girls Club. This could be the Humane Society. This could be, something that you really could see yourself being involved in. And here's the caveat that I try to get people to understand is get involved to the point where you could see yourself being on the board of directors or the president of the board for that nonprofit someday. All right. Now, you don't have to go all the way to that extent of being the president, but you definitely want to have a goal there that you want to be such an intricate member in that organization that someday in the future, you're going to be helping them plan, organize, fundraise. And there's a win-win on both sides of this, right? Of course, the win is your soul and helping others and humanity and all of these great things. And then the second side of that is it's a win-win situation because it also is very helpful for you in your real estate career. When you're working with a charity, you're going to meet like-minded people that share in the same goals that you do, and like-minded people that share in the same goals as you do, a lot of times want to do business with that type of person. So this is a very, very valuable part of your business. Now, in addition, think about the charity that you're going to be involved in. And the other real benefit of the charity is to make sure that you're around these people on a consistent monthly, quarterly, yearly basis. If you're involved in a charity and you're not at least meeting with someone from that charity or doing some sort of work for them at minimum monthly, then you might want to look at a different organization. If you go, hey, well, we do this big walk every year and it's great and that's what we do, that might not be the greatest thing to be involved in. Now, you could be involved in the walk, but I'm sure they're doing other things behind the scenes. You just don't know about it because you haven't talked to the right people yet. So the easiest way to get involved with this is go to the nonprofit that you're interested in. Ask if you can meet with someone from the board of directors as you really want to dive in and provide them with a great deal of time. Now, here's the benefits that you offer to the charity, right? You have a great network, or you hopefully will as you become a better real estate agent, so you can help them do that. You can donate your time. As you become an elite agent, you're going to have a great deal of money that you're going to be able to donate and help them, provide them that through just your own donations. You can leverage your team. You can leverage your office. We've remodeled group homes. We've done we built a ninja course for these kids. So outside, to do all these fun things with. We've landscaped. We've raised money. We've done all these things. And with that being, the big core of it, as you do all of these things, of course, the win-win and the leverage from it is people are going to see that. They're going to want to get involved. They're going to want to help. And eventually, they're going to want to do business with you. Now, also, you can leverage this in forms of your listing presentation. So you can talk about it when you're meeting with clients so they know what you're about. They know who you are. They know that you're not just another real estate agent that's trying to come here and get the commission and yada, yada, yada. This builds that feeling, that builds this, hey, this person, I call it the you're not a scumbag page, right? Then when you get to this in your listing presentation and you explain to them why selling their home for the highest amount of money is fueling your passion to help others, that's something that's hard for somebody to not want to move forward with. Right? Now, if I just go to the listing presentation and say, yeah, basically I want this money so I can go get this Mercedes. You know what I mean? Like that's a little, then they're like, oh, great. Here comes this scumbag. And he's just going to be out to, try to get this, to sell this as fast as possible. All right. So think about charity. It's vital, 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 vital. Now, also in the networking, you've got Chamber of Commerce. You can get involved there. You've got, meetup groups, you've got affiliations, so you've got political, you've got religious, you've got all of these groups where, again, when I think of networking, now I know as us as agents, we're like, networking, oh man, happy hour, that's what we're all about. I can't wait to go get some cocktails. Yeah, no, that's not the kind of networking I'm talking about. There is a place for that, and those networking groups are going to be involved inside of the thing that you're going to do on a consistent basis. But I see agents all the time doing 3-4 random happy hours a week, and they're going, man, I'm crushing this networking thing. And I go, well, cool. How many leads did you get from it, and how much business did you get from it? Well, I met a lot of cool realtors, and I met this lender who, is definitely going to send me some business. And guys, come on, that's the lowest form of networking on earth. Now, you'll still get a business from it every once in a while, but we're looking for something where it's consistent. You're looking for tribes, right? The word tribe, right? I want to be around people that vibe with me, that are in my tribe, that understand what I'm trying to accomplish, and that want to be involved in that process. So make sure you're really dialing it in for those kind of tribes. Now, to the right, you're going to have your little percentage sign on a scale of 0 to 100%, meaning that you've got a consistent charity that you're involved in. You're going to networking events around people. You're generating business and leads from your consistent networking efforts. Give yourself a score of 0 to 100%. All right. All right, moving on. So that was our second planet, networking. We had our first planet, which was prospecting, second planet, which is networking. And now we're on to our third planet, which is internet presence. All right. So internet presence. So I want you to draw a little line in your head or on your paper, draw a line and draw another circle under your system circle. So now you've got one at the top, one to the right, and one to the bottom. And this one is going to have the letter I for internet presence in it. Okay. So to have a very successful business, we need to have prospecting, networking, and an internet presence. And I use that word internet presence for several reasons. Some people will quickly jump to social media. It's not social media. Social media is a part of your internet presence, but it's by all means just one piece of very many different pieces that go into that bucket. Now, looking at internet presence, let's break this down as simple as possible. All right, I have it as pay-per-click. So PPC, pay-per-click. Pay-per-click is probably one of the biggest and most effective ways to generate leads from the internet, and it makes it makes the most sense because you're providing leads to come to your website. You're not buying them from someone else. It's generating clicks on your site, which helps your search engine optimization. Now, to have a successful PPC campaign, you have a couple of options. You can learn how to do it yourself, and that's not impossible. It's called AdWords. There's YouTube videos. They have instructional videos, a million different things. But when we talk about PPC, all that means is when I go to Google and I type into the Google, best real estate agent in, put your city, best real estate agent in, put the neighborhood that you want to focus in, buy a home in, and then let's just say, for example, here, Denver, buy a home in Denver. That phrase right there is called a keyword search. And there's probably 200 versions of that one sentence that you can play around with. Now, when you look at that keyword search, when you type that in and you hit, the search button, all of a sudden you're going to have sponsored ads that pop up. Then you're going to have below that organic sites that are going to show up. Now, with those paid ads, right, which you see them all the time, you have an advertisement up there that's called, it's basically called an ad, and it says, top agent Denver, sell more than anyone else, greatest agent on earth, whatever your ad says, right? You can have, you'll see it now if you go and Google this and you see who comes up in your area. You'll be fascinated by all the different things that you see. Now, you click on that link, or the consumer clicks on that link, and it's going to take them to a specific page on your website where the goal is to provide them with the information they're looking for, and then at some point trigger them by what we call forced registration. Forced registration on a website just means that you get to look at something else, and then eventually there's going to be a pop-up screen that requires you to put in some kind of information so that we can, then it sends it to me. I can call you, help you, and be your resource and be your real estate agent of choice moving forward. Okay. Now, you might not have forced registration, but it's very effective. I recommend making sure you have a website that can produce this. Number two, even if you get them to your site and it has your phone number, it has a contact us page. You have on your site a little chat box that pops up that notifies you when somebody's on your site, and you can engage with them directly through that. And there's a lot of free versions that are offered there. That you know what I'm talking about. Like you're on a site and that little chat box pops up, and they're like, "Hey, can I help you with something?" And you're like, "Hey, do you have any blah 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 blah?" And they're like, "Oh, yes, we have those, but we're delayed 2 weeks in delivering them to you." Same kind of thing. That's just engaging. So remember, your website is your storefront. It's the most important piece of your business. If you were a restaurant owner, this would be your restaurant. This would be the building. If you were any type of business where you're selling something, you have to have a store where they can come to and then find what they're looking for and then eventually purchase. And I see so many agents who do not have a website. I see so many agents out there who, or have a website that doesn't have a lot of functionality, that you can't search for properties, you can't get a home value, you can't, it doesn't have neighborhood information. Now, is it easy to do this? No. It took me lots and lots of weekends and hours and time to make our website one of the most comprehensive out there, in my opinion. And there's still a ton of other sites that are way better than ours, right? But I work on it all the time. We don't stop ever working on it. It goes level 1, 2, 3, 4 to level 500,000, and you're going to continue. It's kind of like your baby. You're raising it up along the way, right? Your baby is growing up, and you're going to do different things. And your baby, and as it goes from toddler to teenager to adult, it's going to require different things, right? And that's the most fascinating thing about it. It's going to need different things from you along the way to nurture its progress, to make sure it grows up to be a really powerful person. Well, in this world, a powerful website, right? But you get it. So make sure you're really diving into the website. That is your storefront. So you've got pay-per-click. Now, you also have under internet presence, you can purchase leads, right? So put that, you're purchasing leads. And when you're purchasing leads, if you're running a high-level system, you're looking at conversion ratios. So let's say that you buy Zillow leads or Realtor.com or Homes.com or whatever other garbage is out there, right? And you're buying those and you go, look, for every lead, it's $100. And it takes me 10 of those leads to convert one buyer into an appointment. So I know it's $1,000 for every time I meet with one buyer. And then on average, it takes me 2 buyers to eventually, go and to get under contract. And so that's $2,000. And I know that yada, yada. So you see what I'm saying there? You're tracking your numbers. I see a lot of people buy leads and they're like, man, I'm crushing it. I've got all this business. And I'm like, cool. What was your profit? What'd you make? And they were like, but you see, and I get all the excuses because, it looks cool to sell a bunch of houses, but you know what's really cool? Making a lot of money. Making money is the cool part. Profit is the entire point of business. It's not about ego. And I can tell you this from firsthand. I went through a whole phase where I was like, I'm going to do everything on earth to sell. No one can touch me. I'll be the number one in every category. I don't care what it takes. And I wasn't really dialed into the profit at the level that I should have been. And I was still making a ton of money, but I could have been making a ton more if I was just analyzing a lot more of my factors. Now, so make sure return on investment. You're looking at and tracking everything you do. Now, another book that'll help you on this is Profit First, right? The Profit First book and model is a game changer. So go check out the book. I'm going to be doing an entire another session on just talking about Profit First to make sure, we're aligned with that methodology, because I have never come across another system as valuable to making you a successful business person as the Profit First system when it comes to making sure you're designed to have a system built around making money, not just selling, okay? Making money, not selling. So now you've got paid leads. Now also an internet presence is, of course, social media. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of your different outlets. The difference with social media is, are you doing it consistently? And are you doing it at a high enough rate to make an impact? Now, here's a pro tip with social media, okay? The goal should be that you're posting on a regular, consistent basis something that's informational, always informational, right? About real estate, the market, mortgage rates, stats, where everything is at with, the world of real estate. Informational, remember, info. You don't need to post on there 65 times over the course of the week that you sold a house. Do you really think your database cares that much that you sold a house? I see some agents where it's just closed. I did this, I closed that, I closed this, I closed that. Boom, boom, boom. People are going, yeah, that's your job, you jerk off. You don't see every time I sell an insurance policy that I post on Facebook, boom, just sold an insurance policy if you're an insurance agent. Or, if I'm a mechanic, boom, just fixed another car. No, you don't see that. It fascinates me to see that real estate agents think that that's the biggest thing that's going to attract people to them. Now, I'm not saying not do it, but do it in combination with a lot of other things so they know that you're a human being. You can still celebrate the success, but change the message, right? Maybe it's not so much all about closed, closed, closed. It's much more about we helped, or I helped, buy this beautiful home. So think about that for a second as you really want to dial in that it comes from helping them, not about, your success all the time. So again, think about the social media aspect of it. Think about that when you're looking at how you're perceived. So information and then something personal, not personal in like, hey, look at, super personal, me and my girlfriend making out. No one wants to see that. No, but yeah, if this is about, hey, here's what I did today, my kids, this, that, making yourself a human. Now, remember, there's a difference between your personal page and your business page. Okay, so there's two different opportunities there. I don't see a lot of agents having their business page, and they're doing a lot of this all off of a personal page because they're like, well, all my friends are on my personal page. Right, build a business. Facebook is meant to build personal network, personal connections, and it shouldn't always be about your business. That's why there's business pages. Okay, so make sure you're thinking about that on a bigger and broader scale of what you're doing. So you've got social media, we've got pay-per-click advertising, we've got paid for leads. Now, here's one of the most underused things that I see in the internet presence, which is YouTube. YouTube, let's say that you're creating your real estate career, and somebody walks into an open house, meets you, goes, great. They walk back out in their car and they Google your name. What comes up? Right? So look right now and think about that. Google yourself. What comes up? And am I looking like I'm a top producing real estate agent? Well, Brendan, I don't have a lot of stuff out there. I haven't done, a ton of sales. I don't have a lot of social media. What's the fastest way where I can start populating the first few pages of Google? And that's with YouTube. Now, you can do informational YouTube videos with your camera, with your iPhone or your whatever Android phone. You can do 3 to 4 minute videos that are information videos on a number of subjects. So, let me explain FHA financing. Hey, here's how title insurance works. Here's what the experience is like with a first-time home buyer. You could have an introduction video of yourself. So you're going to build out this YouTube library. Then once you start selling houses, you're going to have your properties, your videos on there. You can record yourself doing showings and previewing properties. You're populating this so that the general public sees and makes sure that they realize that you're a resource that they can use to have, to buy real estate with, instead of you Google your name and some guy that's a professional piano player shows up because you guys have the same name. You need to dominate the first 3 pages of Google for your own name. It's an absolute game changer. So check that weekly, put in your calendar, self-check. Have I increased any more? Self-check, have I increased any more? Number 2 is a Google business page. So to increase that, you need to have a Google business page. Hello, Google owns the Google business page. They're trying to obviously make that more efficient than Facebook because Google doesn't own Facebook. So think about the things that Google owns. YouTube, Google business page, all of those sources, pay-per-click, all of those things they own. So they have a better preference towards than you doing things on, you're like, well, I do all these videos on Facebook. When you do a video on Facebook, guess where it goes? Nowhere. It goes on Facebook, right? So you do a Google on YouTube, you can share that to the entire internet, and then that way it's a more powerful. And when the Google spiders are searching the internet for resources of information, they're like, they're going all through the internet. You come up as a resource. Then in your YouTube video, it has all the ways to connect with you. You then get leads. People call you and they go, oh my gosh, that video you did on XYZ building was so cool. Obviously, you're the one that specializes in X building. I had no idea. One of the biggest ways I started building my YouTube library was dropping videos and doing previews of high-end condo buildings or loft buildings here in the Denver area. And I would do 5-minute videos where I would show them the lobby, I would show them a few units, I would show them the amenities, I would show them the rooftop if it had a rooftop, and I would talk about the history of the building, which I Googled to find out that information. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of views, got thousands and thousands of leads from that particular thing. Because once they come to your YouTube page, I can drive them to the website. Then they go to the website. So I'm like, oh, great, you like this building. Would you like to see other buildings like that? They go to the website, click on something on there, boom, boom, see one property, next one, forced registration, put in their information, capture their information, give them a call, pre-qualify them, turn them into a client, have an amazing relationship with them, close a deal from them, get bunches of referrals from them, close more deals from them. Dun, 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 dun. It's awesome, right? That's what we're doing here. That's how that process should look from start to finish. So internet presence. So YouTube video, Google business page, all of that is extremely valuable. Okay. So now you've got your third planet, internet presence, pay-per-click, right? Paid for leads, social media, YouTube, Google business page. And the last one, make sure that all of your profiles everywhere on the internet are the same and they're driving the message that you want to deliver. And which is, let me explain this. I see messages all the time. So this is hi, my name is Susie and I love real estate. I've just been in real estate about 3 months. I used to be a teacher for 12 years and I like walks on the beach and puppy dogs. All right. Cool. Is that going to make me have any desire to work with you to handle one of the most expensive real assets that I own, which is my home? Am I going to want to call you and put that into the hands of somebody that started 3 months ago and was a teacher for 10 years? No, absolutely not. Now, people are going, well, people tell me all the time that they love the picture of me and my dog in there because they're dog lovers. Cool. Good for you. I'm glad. I'm not saying that's not a bad marketing technique. If you have a dog and your picture has your dog in it and you're the dog real estate agent. Cool, cool, cool. But also people care about people that have sold a lot of real estate and that are successful and that are professional real estate agents. So again, using verbiage like I've been involved in real estate for X amount of years, or just leave out how long you've been in real estate. Talk about how great you are and talk about the level of service you're going to provide. Talk about how you're going to make your client this experience the best real estate experience on earth. Talk about all of those amazing things and make sure that your bio really screams to the world, I'm an amazing agent, and it has a purpose for a call to action on what you want that client to do when they read it, right? So make sure they're all the same everywhere. I see people with 14 different, headshots. I see people, oh, well, I just didn't get around to updating the other one from 10 years ago. Well, that looks cool. You look like you're really on top of your business. Take the time to get it right. It's your billboard. The internet is just a billboard for you digitally. So if I had a billboard sitting out in front of my office that I'm paying $10,000 a month for, and it's got a picture of me from 10 years ago, and it's got outdated information, and it's like, yeah, fax me at 123 because, if you're interested, then that's a waste of time. So here's the 5 that you want to focus on for your profiles. Realtor.com, Zillow, your company's website. So whatever company you're with, make sure it's perfect. Your personal website, of course, make sure that is perfect. And then homes.com is probably one of the next biggest ones on there. So make sure anywhere, and there's probably 20 other, 30, 50 others from there. Just go and start thinking about any, Active Rain and all of these other things that have kind of come and gone. And then again, make sure on your LinkedIn profile, gals, your LinkedIn profile, that it doesn't have the 75 jobs you worked at. Right? If I go to your LinkedIn profile and it says that you used to be a sandwich artist at Subway, you used to be da-da-da-da, and every year you did something different, I don't want to work with that person. Right? And then you're like, but Brendan, I got to be honest. You can be honest, but you can be smart and you can be vague. Right? Be vague. Right? That's a big, important piece. Okay? Now, again, perception is reality. Less is more, especially until you have more and you're more successful. Okay. So think about those things. Really dial those ideas in. All right. So now next to that, you're going to have your percentage and you're going to put on there exactly, again, if your internet presence is clocking at the highest level and boom, you're getting lead after lead, you have an amazing 4-to-1 return on investment rate or higher. You're crushing everything you're doing. You have all of this, it's amazing. Then it's 100%. If you're not doing any of this and you're like, oh man, I've got some ways to go, don't feel bad. Write down 0, 10, 5. When I started, again, all of us were a 0. None of us were doing any of this. So we were all a 0 at some point. The percentage is just there to get a mental picture of what we've got to work on moving forward. All right. So now we're going to dive into our fourth planet, okay, which is direct mail. So I want you to draw a little line to the left, a little circle, and I want you to put the letter D inside that planet. All right. So now we've got our 4 planets circling around the life giver of our system, which is our system. Okay. Now we've got direct mail. This is going to be one of the biggest buckets that you have, especially as far as staying in contact and developing your met and haven't met database. Okay, and I teach an entire different course on that, and we do a different episode about mets and haven't mets. But all it is thinking about a met as somebody that is going to buy or sell real estate with me, or refer somebody to buy real estate with me that I'm willing to spend $33 a year on marketing to. That's a met. Then the haven't met bucket is the general public and targeted groups that I'm trying to get into my spider web and get into my met bucket that I'm then going to put into this system as well. Okay, so with direct mail, this has a number of different things next to it. Are you mailing? So number one, in itself, direct mail. Are you doing a 33 touch system? Are you touching your clients at minimum of 33 touches a year? Now, some agents I know do 66, some agents do 50, some agents do 12, right? 33 seems to be the right amount based on all of the things that we've done, talked to, all of the testing out there in the world. So 33 seems to be about the right amount, okay? Now, those are your direct mail touches. Then you've also got, when you're looking at direct mail, you've got just simple things, handwritten note cards. Every day when you meet a new lead, do you have a stack of handwritten note cards? Meet a new lead, meaning you had a conversation with them. Are you sending them a handwritten note card and doing that? Are you doing, now with our mailer system, we like to do something quirky, something real estate informational, quirky, and then informational. So we're getting both sides of the personality chain, right? The left and the right brain. Plus, we want to show people our personality, but we also want them to know that we're a resource. And again, you can go and Google this. Just go to Google and go, 33 touch ideas, real estate mailing ideas. There's companies that do all of this information for you. CoreFact is a great one. Client Keepers, they'll do all of these things for you and build out. My Red Tools is a really great one that does all of this and can build this entire system. There's people out there that just do, boomerang cards that, or the coupon cards once a month. You do that, you're still 90% better than most agents that are out there doing nothing. It's the consistency of every time you get a lead, putting them into this system and continuing to move forward with it, right? So direct mail, think about that bucket. Am I nurturing? I'm spending all this time now doing all this stuff. So the prospecting gets me the lead. The networking gets me the lead. The internet presence gets me the lead. The direct mail nurtures that lead and stays in front of them and works for me as marketing around the clock. So I don't have to, constantly be worried about everything. So think about your direct mail campaign. Now, the other piece of that direct mail is what we call an 8x8. So think about it in your mind, 8x8, 8 touches, 8 weeks in a row. Then they go into your 33 touch for life system. 8x8, 33 touch for life system. Okay. And again, we're going to go in that in extreme detail of breaking that down, but simple mindset, 8 touches, 8 weeks in a row, then 33 touches a year. 8 touches, 8 weeks in a row, then 33 touches a year. Now, why 8, Brendan? What the heck's the point of the 8? Well, again, the 8 is just one of these things that all these marketing companies and branding firms, Coca-Cola, Disney, that they realize that once they need to earn a client, that they need to touch them 8 weeks in a row to brand their image and their company into the mind of the consumer. And then once that 8 weeks has been completed, then they need to do it 33 times over the course of the year in some form or fashion. 8x8, 33 touch system. Okay. Now, that's an amazing system. You're going to have a ton of great success with that. Now, start out small. Maybe you start out with a 2x2 a 12 touch system. So every client that I meet, I do 2 things 2 weeks in a row, and then I do 1 touch a month. That's it. 2 by 2, 1 by 12 is what I would call that. And then build up from there. If I was going to go, think about this. If I was like, you know what, I'm going to bench press 500 pounds, and I'm not going to go into the gym, put on 500 pounds, drop that thing on my chest, and kill myself and snap my chest like a twig, right? I'm going to go, okay, I need to start out with making sure I can bench press 200 pounds. All right, got that. Now I can go to 220, 250, and start working our way up. It's the same thing with all of these systems. It's little by little, then you maintain it, right? Then you get better, stronger, you make the next increase. You get better, stronger, you make the next increase until you're throwing up 500 like a beast, right? And you really are hitting your goals. So little by little, don't snap your chest. Okay, don't snap your chest and try to go, I'm going to do this whole thing tomorrow. It will get lost. Now, to organize that system, and we're going to talk about the 8x8 33 touch in an entirely different podcast and another YouTube video and another class. But again, to do that, you can do it old school and use, just envelopes, simple, have an accordion level envelope system, or you can do it through your CRM using tags, right? And that's how we do ours, and automated printing and all of these things. And it just becomes a factory. It's just Santa's workshop, right? Now, in the beginning, until you have a lot of these refined systems, you're the system. So you're there watching CSI at night, you're writing handwritten note cards, you're licking stamps, you're putting them on the envelope, and you're sending this stuff out. The level that you decide to increase at until you have enough money to have leverage, you're the leverage. You just got to work more. You can sit there and write handwritten note cards while watching your favorite TV show, right? While watching whatever you're into. You can do all this. You can put your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, depending on the handwriting, which is probably better than most of ours, your kids to work, and slave wage them. Pay them $5 an hour and have them cranking out, they're the envelope lickers, right? Whatever it might be. But this is, as real estate is, this is an all-in family business. We got to get everybody we can helping us to get this thing off the ground before we can start hiring people and going to the next level. All right. So now next to the left of that, you're going to write the percentage symbol, and on a 0 to 100%, with 100% meaning that your direct mail campaign, your direct mail planet is flawless. Now, if it's not, now let's say you're not doing any direct mail, and you're not doing any outbound farming, you're not direct mailing to a farm, and you're not doing anything that requires your face, your name, your message getting into the hands of the consumer, them looking at it and remembering that you're the go-to real estate professional that they want to use or refer people to. Score yourself on that bucket, right? So if you're not doing anything, a 0. If you're doing everything and it's amazing and you get 1,000 leads, you're doing all this great success and your return on investment is and all of this fun stuff, then give yourself a high 90. It's never going to be 100. Really think about that. There's no system on earth that is perfect that I don't think any of us could find some holes in. So just remember that there's always, always, always room for improvement as we, go and have this journey together. So now, what I want you to do is, now you've got your 4 planets circling the sun. Now, we're going to be able, as we start to get all of these into the high 90s, at least into A level, then we're going to be starting to talk about other planets. Maybe you want to have radio, television, bus benches, all of these other, things that you can be doing. And we'll talk about, a lot of those. Now, in a lot of these other buckets, there's a ton of things that can go into these other buckets. For example, networking, that could be your client appreciation parties, right? That would fall in that bucket. Prospecting, you could have a different way that you lead generate, which, whether it's door knocking, open houses, cold calls, whatever else you're doing to do that, you can put in those buckets. And I'm definitely, feel free to drop me a note or a comment and let me know what you're doing. That's awesome that you're having success with. Would love to hear about it and talk about it. But now we've got the 4 core planets in our universe that are circling our amazing sun, which is our system. Okay. Now take those 4 scores, so whatever they are, add them up, and then divide that number by 4. And then in the system where you have the word S written, put a line next to that and put a percentage, and I want you to write down your score, right? Maybe that's 30, 38%, 50, 70, 80, whatever it is. Now you have a full, easy way to grade your business every week and every month for the rest of your career. Now, what we're going to do, and especially what we train to in our real estate coaching and in our systems and models, is how to focus on taking these down week by week, and we break it down into into our system that we coach to, that is going to get you to increase each one of those 5%, 10%, whatever that is, and it depends on how much you want to do and work and the strategies that we deploy. But now we're going to be doing that on a weekly basis to get you from a 45% score to a 95 or higher. That's what this all comes down to, right? And again, I've had, so many great coaches along the way, and I've had so many great people help me along with this, mentors, coaches. And again, all they did was make sure that I was focused on doing this, because left to my own, devices, I wasn't dialed in on what I needed to be doing. So that's the whole point of a system. That's the whole point of a coach. That's the whole point of having elite performance training, is we know we could do this. Just human nature, for some reason, we don't always end up doing it. So we need some help. We need some tools. We need some strategies. We need some going, hitting me on the head going, Brendan, hey, what happened last week? You said you were going to do X, Y, Z. Well, you see, what happened was, cool. No worries. All right. So let's get it done this week. What's going to happen? ... That's a big help. So the 4 planets of your successful real estate universe, we went through them: prospecting, networking, internet presence, direct mail. You've got your score. You understand now at a very high level of what is most important to build this successful real estate career. Remember, focus on these first. This is the basics. This would be if you were playing basketball, free throws, right? I would have to make 1,000 free throws. These are the free throws that again, are going to be the foundational basis. Now, you might look at these and go, man, I'm really good at 1 or 2. I don't really care about the other 2. That's a bad way of thinking, right? If you looked at your car, could your car really run effectively on 3 wheels? Maybe. It could probably grind it out. It could probably do it. Could your car really run effectively on 2 wheels? Yeah. You might be, if you had front wheel drive and you're dragging the back of that car, if you had no wheels on the back, maybe. But all 4 of them together make it a really smooth ride. And it really makes it so you're protected in any market. Let's say that something happens, gosh forbid, a crisis, a market shift, whatever it is. This balance of being good in all 4 is always going to put you in a position to rise above the rest. You'll never be susceptible to these. I hear people all the time where they were just like, man, I crushed networking. I was da-da-da-da-da. Well, then all of a sudden you have a ski accident, you break your hip and you can't walk for 6 months. How are you going to network that great then, right? Think about those things. Life happens. We've got to be prepared on how we're going to do certain things at a high level to make sure that we can be adaptable in any situation possible. All right. So we've got our score, we've got our game. We understand that we need to be looking at this weekly, monthly. We know that we need somebody to help us, track this in. If you make that decision, if you're really wanting to play at the highest level and you want to go and become elite, now you've got all of that information. So I'd love to see your comments. If you want to show me your piece of paper and your score, shoot that a picture of that. We'd love seeing that kind of stuff. Put it on your refrigerator, put it on your bathroom mirror, look at it daily, align everything, and then set mini goals for what you need to accomplish in each one to get up to speed, right? To get up to speed, and then you'll be on your way. So I'm excited for all of you. I know that this made a major impact on my business and so many other people that I've helped with coaching. I know it'll make a big impact on yours. And as always, I wish you great success.